best reason to. But on our Friday show, we all sing along with that. So everybody should be. So hello, everybody. Hi. I'm not John Craig. I can't hear the O'Hares at all. And Daryl, I guess I can't hear you either. Is it my problem?
No, it's not your problem.
Nope, I hear you.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, all the intros and outros are really, really loud on my speakers, and I have to turn them down.
Yes,
I don't know why it does that, but it does it. So, in case you haven't noticed yet, I'm Mark David Smith, and over here somewhere up above, this is all switched around. There's the O'Hares, and there's Daryl down there, the World Traveler, Mr. World Traveler. Oh my gosh. Wow. Are we impressed or what?
Oh, what? Yes. Very good.
Or what?
Or what?
How long were you in Africa, Daryl?
2 months.
Wow.
Whew. Yeah. That's pretty heavy thing in itself right there.
Very much so, yes.
Well, especially since we'd only planned to be there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And for a while there, when we realized that we hadn't accomplished what we set out to do and what God laid upon us while we were there. So every week it would be like, when are we going home? It's like, we don't know. And my wife was starting to get a little anxious. Like, when are you coming back? I said, I don't know. My mother-in-law was starting to think that maybe I was ditching the family or something.
In the fourth and fifth week, it kind of changes to, are you coming home? I know you love it over there, but so that's did you get accomplished what you wanted? I know you're going back soon.
Well, we're not sure when we're going back, but yes,
okay.
We did. We finally did get lay the foundation for what we wanted to. Yeah.
And what is that you wanted to do?
Well, we needed to get a company set up over there. We originally went over there to do some trading in minerals and mining. And we found out that what we were planning on doing wasn't legal. And the Lord made it very clear to me. He says, if you want me to bless this, it's got to be done legally. It's got to be done properly. So myself and my two partners that I went over, 2 other pastors, we actually established a corporation over there. And so we're looking at doing, like I said, minerals as well as coffee exports. But in the process, the Lord also gave a message for us to give to the entire country of Uganda. And it's a message of revival. Excuse me.
Not the best view, but it's fine.
No,
we get it. Well, very, very cool.
Yeah, so we actually connected with a pastor over there near the end who's got a massive prayer network, and he wants to help us to bring a speaking tour over to the entire country. So we're in planning stages of that.
Wow.
Of course, the funds have to be raised for that, but also we've got elections coming up in the spring, and you don't want to be anywhere near African roads when there's elections going on.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
People have a funny way of getting unalived in those situations.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. I've heard some of the stories. So is it okay if the O'Hares and I come along with you?
Absolutely. We'd love to have a whole bunch of people.
I think we'd all love to go and be a part of stuff like that. Oh my gosh. I'd love it.
And we were staying in this pastor's resort. It was an orphanage that was built that this doctor had bought, and he really felt the Lord saying that this was to be a pastor's resort. It's on top of a mountain. It overlooks Lake Victoria. The view was just unbelievable. Wow. We had monkeys in the trees. Like, I got a picture of a monkey about 10 feet away from me. I said to one guy who came to visit us, I said, the only monkeys we have back in North America are in daycares. And it was spectacular. I mean, what the Lord provided for us over there was remarkable. So lots of great pictures, lots of great memories, and a great foundation for hopefully revival there. That's really what it's all about, God. Yeah. And when we started giving the message at various churches, there was a real resonance. Like, people really is like, we need to hear this, because most of what comes over there from outside is the prosperity gospel stuff. And that just leaves people poor.
Well, you got something coming up. Well, you're doing that tonight, aren't you? Or did you do it last night?
No, I spoke to him yesterday. We are going to have to reschedule. I think we forgot that there's holidays.
Okay. Yeah.
In India. So yeah, we're working on getting that going as well. But there was about 130 pastors or so that want to start hearing about the commandments in northern India.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is the whole thing right there. It's just that's awesome. Brings me back to the days of doing tent revivals and stuff, man. I literally miss those days so much. I think about it so much. So
there was one church that we went and visited, and we actually met with the pastor after. He's got one of the largest churches in all of Uganda, and it's an outdoor church. Like, they don't have a building yet, and yet there were 20,000 people in this concert-style venue with this massive stage, a huge choir, all with uniforms and everything else. And they do this every Thursday night. It was one of the most unbelievable experiences I've ever had.
Wow. Now it's all believable.
Yeah.
Can't use that word anymore.
No. I mean, they had a drone flying over the crowd the whole time, just taking pictures and putting it up on screen. Like 20,000 people. Gosh. It was amazing.
Oh man. I love it. So the O'Hares, where are you back from?
Where are we back from?
Yeah, where are you back from? Have you been anywhere interesting lately? No? You haven't been anywhere interesting at all?
Boston?
No,
Boston.
We traveled to a couple of towns over and then back. It was quite exciting.
Okay, cool.
But no, I haven't been in Boston in a long time.
We did. We went there for.
We did?
Yeah. We went to Boston.
And what were you doing in Boston?
Oh, now see, James is having a memory loss here. We got all dressed up, and what happens usually in Boston in the summertime that we went to see?
Oh, the 4th of July?
The 4th of July.
Oh, there you go.
4th of July. Thank you.
Yeah, we go real early.
And that was quite exciting, though, to tell you the truth. You know, you go there, you see the building. Have you been to Boston at all and seen the?
Never been there.
Never been to Boston.
Never been there? Oh my goodness!
Come to Boston.
So much history.
It's a fun time.
You would love it. The Constitution. So much history in Boston. You know, and terrible what's happening now. You know, things are happening that are very challenging throughout the world. But we went there. We always have our little outfits on that have acknowledging the Constitution, and so we're trying to build up this neck of the woods, which is very challenging because we're up against a lot of demonic people, a lot of people that their minds are really gone demonized. I mean, I can't say it any other way than that. So we haven't gone out. We were invited to do a Sukkot in Tennessee this year, but we chose not to do it. We decided that the trip to Tennessee and we just decided not to go to Tennessee. We loved it. We loved the people. We loved the people. They had invited us, and they gave us some time for teaching and everything. But we just thought we were just going to stay here in our own neighborhood and reach out maybe to our own neighborhood and spend some time seeing whose hearts are open to receive the truth. Because I don't know about you guys, but we are really in a very, very challenging time in history.
Mhm.
I mean, and we just found out something, Daryl. I don't know if you heard it. What happened in Canada? Did you hear what happened in Canada?
There's all kinds. What are you referring to?
Well, I didn't know if you heard the broadcast that we were just on. Al
Oh,
Henry, who lives in Canada, right next to him, very close. What nationality is the guy?
Oh, it was part of Hamas. I mean,
Part of
according
Hamas.
to what Al said.
He killed a man right there, right in. I mean,
Wherever he,
wherever he-
Al and Irene are.
we just know them through, the
Oh,
internet.
they're up in Simcoe County.
Yeah.
They're
Yes,
about
yes.
an hour north of Toronto.
And they've had
Yeah.
a lot of weird things. They've had coyotes let loose on. I don't know whether it's intentionally let loose up there, but Canada's in a mess anyhow. I mean, they really.
yeah.
It's a very. I mean, but the whole world is in a mess. Except I have to say, hallelujah, for our president, President Trump. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that he's in office because he loves the world, and he's trying his best to be a peacemaker. And right now, we're waiting to see what happens with Hamas. I don't know what you all think about what's going to happen with Hamas, if they're going to do what's right or.
Well, that's on my list to talk about in a little bit. We may.
Okay. I had a feeling. That's
okay. We got a couple of different things on my list here. So you guys are just not you fairly busy. I just got back from Walmart a couple of days ago. In the afternoon, and let's see. I went to the bank once last week. I'm back from there. And I don't really have anything. No, I got to go to Home Depot today. So, I'm getting around. Hey, my wife will be back in 2 weeks.
Woo.
I'm pretty stinking thrilled about that. So, she's been gone for a long time. So, both of us in our texts or calls to each other, you can feel the difference in our text as it's getting closer to her getting home. Our texts become a little bit more romantic, a little bit more "I love you," whereas through the past 4 or 5 months she's been gone, we just, when we talk, we kind of take care of business and, everything. But now it's getting closer where we kind of change. At least I'm noticing it anyway. So, but that's it. That heart grows fonder is a real thing. But anyway, it's fun.
So your trips to the bank and to Walmart and back again, they were safe. You no problems.
Traffic, dude. Man, it's one of the reasons I rarely leave the house. There are other people using the same roads that I do. And let me tell you what?
I said, they have a nerve. How dare they?
How dare they? Come on.
I'm telling you. And I don't mind you being there. Just spread out a little bit, just give me my space. Anyway, I've always had just a touch of road rage in me. It's like one of those things you got to hold back from. So anyway, all right. Well, now that we've established our travel itineraries for all of us, which is important.
We're headed down to Utica actually this week for Sukkot celebration.
You are?
We're headed down to Utica, New York.
Okay.
On Thursday for Sukkot celebration.
Cool. And will you be camping out, or what's this? I'm not familiar
Oh,
with
no. It'll be Airbnb.
Airbnb the whole way. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna run up to David and Juanita Weiss's little thing that they'll put together on the weekend, next weekend. And it's about a 4.5 hour drive. So I'll probably go up there next weekend, go up there, meet with them, and then just drive back. So, stay overnight. So probably be my first Dakota I've ever actually stayed in a motel instead of camping out. So here's one for you. So O'Hare's, you've been doing Sukkot for a few years, 3 or 4 probably.
What?
Give me a chronological order of all the different Sukkots you've been through, starting with the first one. Yeah, I should have emailed you and asked you to put that together. I forgot. So now you have to remember.
I mean, I need to even look up what chronological means, but that's another story for another day.
Well, I got to tell you this right here.
Abigail can do it.
We were in a church, a charismatic, spirit-filled church, and when we were in there, the first Sukkot that we did, I'm going to say it was right in our backyard. Did we understand everything that was going on? Absolutely not. But I was stirred in my heart. I said, I want to let this congregation know there's this celebration called Sukkot. And James and I are going to have a Sukkot. We are going to have a major Sukkot. It's an outdoor celebration. So anyhow, I explained the whole thing to the congregation to see who all would come. I knew it would be amazing how many people came. It was like almost the whole church came. And they were very, very interested in learning about Sukkot. And so it was a learning curve even for me. I just remember hearing my grandfather, who was Jewish, and my mother telling me certain things about Sukkot, but she never really broke it down that much. So I did my due diligence and looked up some information in the scriptures. I looked up some information in some people's books that they wrote about it. And so I said, James, we are going to do Sukkot, and you would not believe all the people that were interested in coming to this. So that was our first Sukkot. I mean, we must have had there between children and adults. And the thing is, our place that we just bought this house, and our house wasn't even completed like it is now. I mean, it was literally this sense of urgency that I felt like this needs to be a message that the church needs to hear about, because they're not aware of the cycles of righteousness. So that was our very first Sukkot that we did. And I've got to tell you something. We had dirt in our backyard, dirt in our front yard. There was not even any grass. And the kids came, the adults came, and I had food galore. I had printed out all kinds of scripture concerning Sukkot. We made huppahs. We had the children and the parents get leaves and branches, and we did a Sukkot based on the issues of our heart. I'm telling you, it was a success. It just opened their eyes, and they never heard of it before. We did repenting, not so much repenting, but I gave scriptures for people. I said, if you want to take any of these scriptures and have your children under the huppah, the families under the huppah, and cool. Just talk about who you are. So we did that for our first Sukkot, and that was how many years ago? Would you say?
That was
first one.
Probably 20.
No, it was longer than that, James. It was longer than that. I don't know. It was many, many years ago. It was more than 20.
Sure.
It was.
Sure. It was many moons ago.
It was about 30. I'm going to say it was probably about 30 some odd years ago.
Wow.
It was before I actually found my father,
Yeah.
It was before we were reunited. And that was our first Sukkot. And I'm telling you, it was such a success. I mean, it was like there were so many questions and so much joy. And it was like, so we decided doing that every single year. Every single year we did it. And it just developed more and more, and more people wanted to attend it. And so we've had that experience. Sukkot is a very, very special time for us.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been to Sukkot with you guys.
yes, you had.
A lot more than one, a few times.
Yeah, 4 times.
4 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go.
We
was-
went to Texas.
Something
Oh,
like that.
5
5
times.
times if you
Five-
include Texas.
5 times. Oh,
4 in
Texas.
Okie dokie and 1 in Texas.
okay.
And
Nope.
they've all been amazing. They really have been amazing. I mean, much learning.
Well, you guys did go a few times to Chandler, and I mean that in itself, 1,200 people all camping together and all in, a semi one accord. Because I don't think that many people are ever in one accord. But anyway, so that's like extreme Sukkot. My very first one was in Israel because I took a tour to go over during that time. And the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem had like 7 nights of Sukkot. And our tour was a part of that. So we got to go to all the different events. And the most amazing thing about that one was that we got to go out to Qumran. And at Qumran, they put on a play on the side of the mountain. And it was it was David and Saul and the whole thing. It was all kinds of dancing and banners, and I mean it was full wardrobe, the whole thing. It was just an impactful display up on the side of the mountain, and I'll never forget that. I didn't even think I got a little bit of video of that, but that was my first Sukkot. So it's just kind of one of those things where, yeah, I think I can handle doing this. Then that's back when I was a Christian too. I wasn't messianic or anything. That's when I met my first messianic people and got acclimated to the lifestyle. So, everything comes from there. Daryl, any history of Sukkot you want to tell us about?
We haven't done actually all that much. I mean, we've had our own celebrations mostly here. When we were in Peterborough, we had actually had a guy build a sukkah out in the front of the yard of the place that we were meeting for congregation, but nothing so elaborate. Like there was one time we went up to a campsite in Northern Ontario where this group of people that were sort of messianic we had met, and they were on this campsite. So we had gone up. Yossi must have been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old or something like that. And we were staying in this cabin. And I mean, Northern Ontario or Central Ontario, and it's raining hard. That it was raining so hard that weekend. But I haven't done the traveling like a lot of people on the network have.
Yeah.
The
different groups do different things. So
yeah, the Craigs had invited me to come down a couple of years ago, but we just weren't able to swing it because that's like 25 hours of driving or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. How long did it take you guys to get there? They went to the Craig's Sukkot. They drove. How long did it take you to get? A couple of days? Did it 3 days?
3 days.
3 days.
Actually, I think it was 3 days. It was 30 hours of driving. we drove.
Yeah.
We stayed over. I think two different nights. I think.
Yeah. It's
We also had
interesting.
Sukkots in Israel. We went to Israel for 2 Sukkots. Again, this is before we had crossed over into Messianic lifestyle. And so we were with Jon Willem. I don't know if you know who Jon Willem is. So we were with him for 2 times. And but there was also it gave us opportunities to do some praise and worship, and it was nice, but it was inside a hotel, and there was something about being in a hotel in Sukkot that I'm like,
That's a conference.
exactly.
Yeah.
But but
it was a Sukkot conference. That's for certain.
exactly what it was.
People have them.
Yeah, but so I mean, it was okay. We enjoyed it. We like being in Israel. I mean, Israel. We just love being in Israel. But so we've had so many, but we never do not celebrate Sukkot. Every single year we celebrate it.
It's interesting after you've camped out for 8 days at least with 1,200 people. And all the mingling, you get to meet so many people. The nights, oh my gosh, the nights sitting around campfires and going to different campfires. After you've experienced that, it's hard to compare anything else, especially a Sukkot conference, at a hotel or whatever. I mean, there's just really no comparison. So anyway, I thank God that He allowed me to be within that group, to be a part of all of that. So, very interesting, very, very good. I love this stuff. One of the places I got on my notes here, this is a question that I've had for a long time, and I like to ask people around this time, of the festivals and stuff. And we know that to find out about the festivals, we go to Leviticus 23. And I want to read the first few verses here, first 4 verses. Says, the Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and say to them, these are my appointed festivals, the appointed festivals of the Lord, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies. There are 6 days when you may work, but the 7th day is a day of Sabbath rest, a day of sacred assembly. You are not to do any work wherever you live. It is a Sabbath to the Lord. And verse 4 says, these are the Lord's appointed festivals, the sacred assemblies you are to proclaim at their appointed times. And then he goes on and explains those. My question has always been, whoever wrote this slipped verse 3 in between those verses. It starts off with saying, these are my appointed festivals. And then he explains Sabbath, and then he goes into the other festivals. So doesn't that make Sabbath a festival?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always thought that.
Oh yeah.
I ask a lot of people, and they'll say, "Oh no, that's not the festival. That's not a festival. That's Sabbath." Well, not according to this. In my reading of this, the difference between the second verse, which says, "These are my appointed festivals, the appointed festivals of the Lord," and then down in 4 says, "These are the Lord's appointed festivals, the sacred assemblies you are to proclaim at their appointed times." So that it almost kind of separates the 7 Moedim from Sabbath, but Sabbath is still a festival. It's part of the Moedim, whole Moedim. Now, Eddie Chumney wrote a book called 7 Festivals of the Lord. And I asked Eddie one time, I said, Eddie, you know what Leviticus 23 says in verse 3? What do you think? And he goes, yes, I believe that is a part of the Moedim. That's a festival of the Lord. I said, but you didn't put that in your book. He hem-hawed around about it and everything, and it's kind of like, well, I think you should completely rewrite your book and throw Sabbath in there. It's the 8 festivals of the Lord, not the 7 festivals. And he chuckled a little bit and didn't respond. So anyway, just trying to get general thoughts on that. I mean, I don't have any problem with saying every week Sabbath is a festival. It's a part of the Moedim. It is to me anyway. I mean, I celebrate that appointed time with the Lord, and it is an appointed time with the Lord. So,
well, I think it's very interesting that you bring this up. Abigail and I have been very involved in theater, dramas for most ever since we met. We met basically, and the first thing we did was there was a big drama, big stage production at the church we were going to at the time, and then when we went into the charismatic church, Abigail became the theater, the music, what do you call it, the director, and wrote a lot of the stage productions and whatnot. When I see this and the way it's written, like you mentioned, Mark, the appointed times of Yahweh, and then it says in verse 3, 6 days work is done, and the 7th day is the Sabbath. It reminds me of, because we're looking at 7 days. The 7th day is the day of rest. It comes from creation. It comes from the beginning. It's a foundational feast, if you will, something that teaches us about the other feasts. Because you think about Pesach, unleavened bread, first fruits, those 7 days. And then in the end, you have the 7 days, and then you have the final 8th day, 8 feasts. I mean, it kind of brings, it just kind of, to me, it layers upon that we are rehearsing, that this is a rehearsal. We're actors in a great play, if you will, and we have roles to play. What role are we playing? And what are we understanding when we hear about the 7 days or the 6 days, and then the 7th day, an appointed time of Yahweh is the Shabbat, is the day of rest, as he did in the beginning. And now we're going to, I honestly believe that we are basically in a 6,000 year cycle. From Adam and Eve to the time Messiah is returning is going to be 6,000 years, whatever that is. We heard that some people, some groups have been, I think it was September 23rd. September 23rd was the. Is this Jeremiah 33? Holly?
I don't know.
That's good. That was good. But you see, it was on the speaker.
I was going to say it was silent mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to turn mine off.
Yeah, I do that occasionally.
Sorry.
Came right from my phone.
I know. It was a perfect ring. I'm telling you. But anyway, trying to go back to where I was. It's a rehearsal. It's a thing to teach us, to train us, to understand these feasts. You get the first major feast, or I shouldn't even call it the first major feast, the second feast. We'll call it Passover, right? That Passover week. And then you get the 8th feast, if you would. We're going to call it this now.
Okay.
And again, Passover is a 7-day feast, if I remember correctly from the Bible. But then Sukkot is a 7-day feast with the convocation added the 8th day,
right,
which again alludes to the marriage supper of the Lamb, alludes to Yeshua coming back, and 8 is, if you ever look at the number 8 and you turn it on its side, it's the same sign for infinity, or
Yeah.
eternal,
Eternal.
eternity.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of gives us some pictures, whether or not that's all, that's just what it kind of shows me. And it kind of encourages me of the plan that we are on, that the Father has implemented. And so that's where I'm kind of at with that.
It.
You brought that out though. That was good. Thanks.
I like it. One of the reasons, and I constantly baffle Rabbi David Weiss on the Friday show, because I come up with some of the questions that it's like nobody else ever questions. And I like to look at scripture. Anything I'm reading, I want to picture what it would be like if somebody had no background to any of this. So they're reading these verses and putting whatever together that they put together. So that's where my questions come up a lot of times, is if somebody's reading any of these texts, especially the New Testament, the Brit Hadashah, and they're reading it with no background. What are they seeing out of this, and how it's written? And this is one of those things that I'm sure many people have questioned. But anyway, go ahead, Abigail. I think you started.
Yeah, I like, it's interesting. The more I read the scriptures, and the more the scriptures give us the opportunity to experience them, because that's what happened with Sukkot for me and for all the people that we shared it with. This is even before, again, we became messianic and our eyes were really open. I mean, it was like amazing. But because of my testimony of me being separated from my Jewish family at a very young age, there was something that resonated in my heart when I discovered Sukkot. When Sukkot came to me through the scriptures, I said, wait a minute. This is not a coincidence that you're pointing this to me. I'm talking to the Father. I'm saying, wow, Sukkot to me is an opportunity for gathering, but it's also an opportunity for inviting people to understand the relationship that we have with the Creator of heaven and earth and with one another. And it to me, there's a healing that takes place during Sukkot. And I remember when we were in Israel one time. We were in Israel many times. We've been there many, many, many times. But there was that one time when we were having Sukkot with a woman who was Jewish. And I think we were at that time Messianic. I think we had already crossed over into the Messianic lifestyle. And she said this to me. And then she said it to the whole, she was actually the leader of the Sukkot. And she was taking us on a bus. And we were going to various places in Israel, having beautiful times. It was wonderful. It was a great time. But she turned around and she looked at me and she had tears running down her eyes. And she said, next year, I will not be doing this kind of a Sukkot. She said, I miss my family so, so much. I miss being under the sukkah. I miss being able to have hospitality. She was just like saying, I don't believe that Sukkot is meant for a bus ride here, a bus ride there. And so she was just saying, I will never, ever do this again. And she was a wonderful, wonderful, she gave all kinds of lessons on Israel and Sukkot and everything. But she resonated in my heart that it's a time of fellowshipping with the Creator, but it's also a time of having an opportunity to embrace one another. And sometimes we need that embracing time. Oops. There may be issues that have taken place in people's lives, and we need to be able to have that loving time, that loving time, because it's all about relationship. And James and I are going to do our Sukkot this year, and the topic is marriage, the marriage supper. we're going to be talking about marriage, and it's got a lot of very insightful messages within it, because the quote is about the marriage. It's about our marriage with our bridegroom, and it's also about the marriage between a man and a woman. And in the day we're living in, people need to hear that. Did you say a marriage between a man and a woman? Are you saying that to me? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how it all began. A man and a woman. So I think it's an opportunity for us to express that during this time. This particular, I mean, we've done it for so many years. It just enhances our relationship. To me, it's an enhancer of relationships. And I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll just surrender it. It also, Sukkot can sometimes bring friction. Have you ever been to a Sukkot where there's been friction?
No.
No, not when you camp with 1,200 people. Everybody's in one accord. Oh yeah.
The reason
No friction.
I know. I know. But the deal is this: friction is not a coincidence. You know, sometimes the friction happens. It's like holy sandpaper, and it depends on who the individual is that's receiving the friction, and how they respond or react. So I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful therapeutic blessing to have Sukkot. I really do. I wish I could invite all of you to come to our Sukkot. You're welcome to come. If you want to camp out, I mean, it's a wonder. It really is. I mean, it is really, it's family.
Uh-huh.
I always felt, Mark, when we were at Sukkot in Oklahoma, we were with family.
Yeah, I did too.
I really felt that way, and you were the first ones that brought us there. But every place we went, we met Marilyn and Tony there. We met so many.
Yeah.
We had wonderful times at Sukkot.
Yeah, yeah. You develop a family from all of that too. Yeah, I love it. I do. Anything to add to this discussion there, Rabbi?
Well, when I wrote my book, I, of course, dedicated an entire chapter.
Shameless plug, by the way. Shameless.
I dedicated an entire chapter to the understanding of Shabbat, because although it is one of the Moedim, it is separate. And so the way that I describe it is that it is there are 7 annual and 1 weekly festivals.
There you go.
That God has.
Very good.
And James, I have a lot of experience with drama too. We've been talking with a lot of family this week, so I'm getting my drama in there. Every time God calls us to come before Him, it should be a celebration. Even when you do Yom Kippur, we're celebrating the fact that, of course, we're afflicting the souls and we're repenting, but we're rejoicing in the fact that there's been a provision made.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
When I'm talking to people in the church about why doesn't the church celebrate the Moedim? I mean, I said, well, if God tells you to show up, you don't think it's going to be a good thing? You don't think there's going to be a blessing that comes with that? I mean, of course there is. So it's a matter of understanding, I think, theologically why we do these things. When you understand, like Abigail said, the cycles, there's a rhythm that God, there's 2 rhythms that we operate on in this world. There's the kingdom of darkness, and then there's God's kingdom. And there are frequencies attached to those. And when you're moving within God's rhythm of things, when you're in God's frequencies, there's blessing, there's healing, there's joy, there's peace. When you're in the kingdom of darkness, which is just about everything else around us, including Christian holidays, then you're going to get the negative aspects of that. So when I promote the Moedim of the Lord, however it is that you celebrate it, sometimes we just have a dinner and get together with people. But the point is that you're coming before the Lord and you're understanding that he wants to meet with us. It's family. It's mishpacha. And, unlike some of the family gatherings that I used to have when I was younger, we'd get together for Passover, and the craziness that would go on because nobody was operating in God's understanding of things, and everybody was doing what was right in their own eyes. And when you deny the very essence of why we're getting together, there's of course a disconnect. So for me, when I promote these festivals to Christians, and we had an unbelieving Jewish guy come break the fast with us the other day.
Cool.
I ran with him in the election, actually, and so we become friends. And
Cool.
He knows a lot of believers and has a lot of believers as friends. He's never met a Messianic believer before, so I keep messing him up all the time because I can actually answer his questions and, refute his arguments, the craziness that he comes up with sometimes. But the point is that when God tells you to show up, there's a good reason for it, and you can expect great things when he does. So we should all just get busy and like the O'Hare said, this is rehearsal. We're going to be doing this in the millennium, so you better get used to it now.
Amen. Yes.
Be a lot of remembering in the millennium. Wow, that's hard to say. Yeah, very good.
Some of us are having trouble with that now.
No, they're not. No, okay, good. This has been good. I agree everything everybody said. It's been to me sometimes I think we make things too hard. There are a lot of it seems like individual requirements and that people put on themselves, that different groups put on their people because they believe a different way and they think they're interpreting scripture a certain way, and so it seems to me like there is that man takes what God has given them that is so simple and so pure, and man makes it hard. Man imposes his own limitations on things, where with God there are no limitations. With God we have no limitations. Yeah, there's standards and there's protocols and there's the life that he's given us, the lifestyle that he has given us. Yes, it's there, and we can't make it. We can make it our own, but we can't make it something different than God implied to begin with. You see what I'm saying? Man has a tendency to just want to change things to suit man. And that's the trouble that I find. You guys know I do a show on Tuesdays called Peter Kamor, and I meet with a man from the UK by the name of Yossi, and he is explaining in a lot of detail, but very understandable, a lot of the things of being Jewish and being a part of God's kingdom and that type of thing. And I just constantly come away with the fact that, everybody, or not everybody, but so many people say, I want to be a Jew. I don't want to be a Christian. I want to be a Jew. Well, if you had any idea what the Jewish government or the Jewish hierarchy, the stuff that they put on people just for being Jewish, you wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. And that's actually Yossi's message is that be happy that you're Messianic. Be happy that God has given you the full message, and understand that it is God's lifestyle, not man's lifestyle that we can take and just make it whatever we want to make it. There are protocols. There are things set up by God in how we should live. And we shouldn't take those things and make them man's way. And so many different denominations of Christianity have so many rules of you got to believe this or you can't be part of our group. You got to do this or you got to do it the way we do it and say a name a certain way and things like that. And that's all just man entering in his own ideas of the way God's lifestyle should be made. And I just can't ever not think of the fact that God himself said this Torah, this lifestyle we live is not too hard. It's not too hard to do. All you got to do is love God. Everything else will fall in place as long as you love and want to serve the one and only true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so many, I think, just get caught up in their other ways. So anyway, don't know where I came with that, but there you go. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that we can meet with people that have the same vision that all of us do, and that is to get the word out to everybody, not just a few or not just those that'll hear it. We want to get the word to everybody. I've said many, many times that, especially in the United States, preaching the gospel has taken on a new personality, in that most people in the United States have heard the gospel in one form or another, and some in a positive way and some in a negative way. And if you are a highly influenced person, it's what you hear is where you're going to go with it from that point on. And I think a lot of people in the United States have heard so many negative things about Christianity, about living for God, the whole thing, that you even start to mention anything that has to do with our lifestyle or the gospel. And it's like most people just don't even want to hear it at all, because we've already heard what we've heard. And because it's been portrayed so negatively that it hinders people from hearing the rightful, righteous, true message. So that's just the way I think. That's the way I feel. I used to be a person that would love to get out on the street and witness to people. Many years since I've done that, but I miss it. I miss talking to people on the street. It always brings me back to Paul Neeson. My gosh, that guy is still to today still gets out on the corners with a microphone and a little amplifier and stands out in the corners and preaches the message. So miss those days. No response. Okay, well, there we go. We're good. I guess everybody agrees with it. So
yeah,
miss the days of being out on the street. I know we all have. That's been so many years now since I've done that. But we don't do that much. So my whole deal now is lamb. I use lamb to stand out on the street and preach the message. And I get to have all of you righteous people come on and help people understand the rightful message, the good message, the right message, the righteous message that we all portray. Okay, very good. Well, been a nice little discussion here. I want to, just like what we normally do on Let Us Reason, is we talk about little stuff, and we talk about the Torah, and then we talk about a little bit of the news, and the big deal to me. I just saw this yesterday. Have you guys heard the newest Greta? What is Thunberg? What's her name? Thunberg. Have you heard the newest on her?
Yeah.
Have you, Daryl? I actually have it here. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard. Let me just. I want to do this. I want to share this on the entire screen. Let's put this over here and turn the sound on and share. And I'm going to play this little thing here real quick. Oh, that's not where I want to go.
Thunberg is complaining about her jailhouse conditions after she was arrested, along with the rest of her pro-Hamas flotilla, for trying to crash the war zone. Pictures seem to show Thunberg looking a bit disheveled, but just fine. Greta's group says they were delivering aid to Gaza, but the boats were empty.
I'm inside one of the vessels, one of the largest vessels to come in this Yom Kippur flotilla. There's one thing missing, guys. All this aid that they were supposed to bring into Gaza, which explains one thing to me, I'm sure it explains to you, that when we and multiple other countries offered them to take this aid and bring it to the Gazans, we could facilitate its safe arrival, they flat out rejected it. And now we know why, because it was never about bringing aid to Gazans, but it was all about the headlines and the social media followings.
Let's see. Okay, stop screen. Here's my very first thought on this: is I wish they'd have known that they didn't actually have anything when they were coming into wherever they were going into, and just let them come in and go ahead and dock them and everything and say, oh, you guys have supplies for the Gazans? Good, cool, come on, unload your supplies. And then what would they say? Because they didn't have anything. That was all a publicity stunt. So you say you're bringing in supplies to Gaza, but you got none. So I wish they would have let them come on in. And all the news people would be there and everything. And you want to talk about being stupid? It's ridiculous. Anyway, I don't know why she's putting all this on herself, but it's ridiculous. So, any response to all that?
Well, we have to understand the globalists who are seeking to cause all of these problems. Greta doesn't know what she's doing. She has been, her parents are radical leftists, and she's been a tool of theirs ever since she was a small kid. I spoke a little about this yesterday in the threshing floor. And when it comes to the propaganda war that's going on here, because I talked yesterday about whether there's any such thing as Judeo-Christian values, and that there's this rise in objection to using that term because they say that it's not actually a real thing because Judaism and Christianity are two entirely separate things. So that's what you're getting a lot of the people on the so-called right that are talking about. But what you're seeing from a spiritual perspective is that there is a rise of Satan being the prince of the power of the air, and the propaganda war is on. When you see Revelation chapter 12 and the dragon, and he spews out of his mouth this flood, and a lot of people have interpreted that to be propaganda, much like Joseph Goebbels did in World War II. And it doesn't matter what Israel does, they're not going to win. They can't win the propaganda war because people don't want Israel to win. Chris Cuomo, and I've agreed with very little of what he has said over his entire life, but he said one time on a program, he said Israel's not allowed to win, and he's absolutely right. People don't want Israel to win. The reason why there are so many pundits and podcasters and everybody with a camera can be an expert on something. I mean, how did Dave Smith become an expert on the war in Gaza and as an atheistic Jewish comedian, and I use that term in quotes, and yet he's on Piers Morgan all the time. He's constantly spouting his nonsensical rhetoric. How did this happen? It's because the war is on. And so no matter what Israel does, they're not going to win the public relations battle. And, now you've got everybody saying that Charlie Kirk was killed by the Mossad because he was questioning October 7th. Charlie Kirk questioned October 7th on October 7th, as did many of us. We all know that there was a stand-down order. We don't know who it came from, but we know. But when it comes to, what Greta's doing and all this stuff, what I don't understand is why Israel restrains itself so much. You can only warn people so many times before something bad happens. And, what I think Israel needs to be doing is going in, taking care of business, and public opinion be damned. And if a couple of flotilla boats need to be sunk because they've entered into a war zone, if you did that during World War II and you entered, the Nazis had U-boats going across the entire Atlantic, sinking boats that were belonging to the enemy. And yet Israel has to put on shackles in order to fight. They're fighting this battle with one arm tied behind their back. And it's costing them a lot of lives in the IDF. There's almost 1,000 soldiers that have died so far. So when it comes to these publicity stunts with Greta or whoever it is that's spouting the latest bunch of nonsense, it all comes back to the same source. It's satanic attack, and the world wants to believe it because it hates the idea of Israel. And the reason why there's so much gnashing of teeth that's been going on is because Israel is getting one victory after another. Like, who would have ever thought they would have taken out Hamas, Hezbollah, and taken out Iran's nuclear program all within a 2-year period? Unprecedented. So Greta, I feel sorry for her. But at the same time, there are going to have to be consequences for her flagrant ignoring of the rules of war. And it will be a tragedy, but I think the world needs to be sent a message that you better stop messing around, because we're not going to be sacrificing Jewish lives for the sake of you getting clicks.
Yeah. I interesting. The first time they came over, the IDF gave everybody sandwiches, and
I think they just need to sink the damn boats. You pass the line here. This is a war zone. You enter here. We're going to torpedo you.
Yeah.
End of story. And if that's if that's what you want to do, you want to become a martyr for your cause, then God bless you. But this is ridiculous that Israel entertains this garbage.
Well, we certainly don't have any problem blowing up boats coming into the States with drugs on them. What have they blown up? 4 of them now?
Yep.
Yep. 4 of them now.
Hallelujah.
So they don't have any problem blowing those boats up. So. All right. Okay. O'Hare's. Any response at all? Add
Yeah,
in?
the whole Greta thing, that just to me it's insanity gone to seed. The whole thing from the very time she showed her face and made her comments, I said, you have no clue, young lady. I mean, it's just to me, I can't believe all the time and energy that is spent on that situation, and the reason I say that is, having counseled a lot of people over my time, the one thing when you counsel somebody, if somebody, say, well, I'd like to counsel her. I'd like to, tell her, give her some good advice, blah, blah, blah. Or anytime you want to counsel anybody and say, boy, if I could only sit down and have a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu or President Trump or whatever. The one thing I've learned about speaking truth to people and telling them the truth and giving them wisdom and you're having your conversation with them, the one thing I know after saying all that, and again, I've counseled a lot of people, one thing I know afterwards, and I say this all the time. Now, I've told you what I believe is the truth. I've given scripture that I believe is the truth. I've given advice that I believe is the truth. But I know what's going to happen after I stop talking and we have a conversation, and then you get up and you go wherever you're going to go. You are going to make a choice. You're the one that chooses. And that's what happens with the Greta. That's what happens with all of the situations that are taking place in Israel. All kinds of counseling is taking place. President Trump is having all kinds of meetings with Benjamin Netanyahu, giving sound advice, having all kinds of meetings with people, and has a lot of great people surrounding him to give him advice. And what I understand with his cabinet is that when he speaks certain suggestions or this is how it has to go, and if it goes this way, things are going to work out fine. People are going to make their own choices. People choose. You walk away. I mean, right now in this broadcast, you hear someone talking about something, and inevitably, each one of us is going to make a choice as to, do I believe this? Do I agree with this? We have choices. I tell that to my son all the time. I'll say, Brian, I'm telling you the truth. Your mother loves you. She tells you the truth. But inevitably, it's the choices you make that are going to have results.
Yeah.
It's not even my counseling. I can give counseling and tell people, this is what you need to do. This is the right way to do this. This is what scripture says. Don't do human reasoning. Don't listen to human reasoning. Listen to what the divine word says. His word is the truth.
Yeah.
And you can tell people that, and you can even say, that's how I live my life. Inevitably, people are going to make their own choices. I mean, that to me is inevitable with it's just the way that choose this day who you're going to serve. I mean,
it's all in who you're influenced by.
Exactly. And the thing is, who are you listening to? Or are you reading the divine word? Are you reading his divine word? Because he gives us the right information. He gives us the truth.
Right.
So if we're listening to human reasoning, if we're all the time human reasoning, well, she said this or he said that or they said this. So what do the scriptures say about this? Have we been vigilant enough to search out the scriptures and find out what does the divine word say about this situation? How do we deal with this?
Right.
And I think we've reached that point in history right now where we have to be at that point of making the right choices. We have to be making the right choices because there's so many people that have hardened their hearts. There's so many people that are not taking in the divine word, and they're listening to human reasoning, which is the father of lies, and not listening to the truth, which is in the word. What do we expect?
Yeah.
What do we expect for results?
Right. That's what I was talking about earlier on, so many people are doing different things within God's lifestyle because they're using their own human reasoning to understand this, and that's where they're not letting God influence.
Exactly.
I like AI, but I like it as Adonai influenced. So I go with that when I'm doing AI. I'm Adonai influenced. Go ahead. I cut you there, James.
I don't really even think about this young lady very often at all. She rears her head. She rears her ugly head every couple of twice a year, 3 times a year, whatever it is, whatever the cause is. You're right, Daryl. Her parents are neglectful of her, and used her as a pawn. That's all she is, just a pawn. She, complained about. I call her Regretta. That's what I call her. She complained about how she was handled by the Israelis in the jail and sitting on a slab floor and not getting food and water, being dehydrated, and all these lies. That's all she knows how to do is lie. And one thing came to my mind when I was listening to that. I think we heard that this morning. One thing that came to my mind is, did she see the videos of the Israelis under Hamas prisons and digging their own grave, and how immense, in the word, how skinny they looked. Emancipated they looked, and the cruel treatment. And then you heard the stories of the ones that were released, and
all the babies that were destroyed.
Then during the war, the beginning of that war itself, and all the cruelty and the horrific things. But nobody even thinks about that kind of stuff.
They don't care.
I know.
You're right. They don't care. And I saw another poll today, which was really disappointing, though it's not surprising to me with American Jewish community. A majority of American Jews believe that anti-Semitism is just a part of the Jewish life now. That's it. It's like, what? I don't understand that at all. I mean, we've dealt with American Jews a lot. We had that group that we were part of, Christians and Jews United for Israel, which was a grassroots organization that started here in Brookline, Mass, and and all these, kumbaya moments, come together, let's talk about, all the interfaiths and all that kind of stuff. But the only thing that Hamas and Hezbollah and any of the enemies want is to kill Israel, to wipe them off the face of the earth. It's in all their charters, but people don't want, they see what happened on October 7th, but they don't see it. They don't want to see it. They blind themselves to it. And then
they tried to show Greta videos of October 7th. She refused to look.
Yeah, of course, because if you don't see it, it's not real.
She's in denial. She's in denial. That's where her head is at. She's in denial of truth.
I always knew she was an Egyptian.
She's in denial of truth.
She's in denial.
Can I just say one thing? You brought up the Anti-Defamation League. We belonged to a group called Christians and Jews United for Israel. And the Anti-Defamation League came to one of our meetings, okay? And so they said, we're gonna talk to you, And there was like maybe they say 40 people, 50. I don't know how many Jewish people were there, and we were there because we were part of the group. And so the man stood up, and we were all sitting around this huge table, and the man stood up, and so he started talking, and he said, I'm gonna discuss this with you. Let's pretend we're in a fish tank. I'm going to give you an analogy of a fish tank. And I said to James, I'm going to talk last, and I'm going to nail this. I didn't even know where he was going to go with this, but I knew I had the answer. So he's talking about this fish tank, and he says, now just imagine this huge fish tank right in front of you, because I used to have a huge fish tank with snake heads in it, just saying. So I know about fish tanks. So anyhow, so he said, now if you have a fish tank and all the fish are in the fish tank, one tank, They all get along great. They love each other. Oh, they get along so great. They just love each other. And he went on for
Yeah, the
hours.
right fish.
And he went around the room talking to everybody about this fish tank, right? And then some had some comments. So I was the last one that he let speak. So I said, okay, the best is saved for last. So I said, in all due respect, it's interesting you brought up fish tank. I was so happy you brought up the fish tank. I said, because I used to have a huge fish tank with snake heads in it. Snake heads. Now I had to keep these huge fish separated from my little goldfish. Because if I put this, if he said, if like all the fish get along great, they don't care what you are. I said, well, if I put that little goldfish in the fish tank, guess what happens to the goldfish? Bye. He gets swallowed up by the snakeheads. So anyhow, I said, very bad analogy, but I'm glad you brought it up because it's a fact. It's a fact. There are problems right now. There's anti-Semitism among even Jewish people. There's anti-Semitism that is permeating the land. There's people that don't even know this, and these were among all Jewish people in there. I said the best kept secret is Jesus is Jewish. Jesus was born a Jew. He was raised a Jew. Jesus is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, one guy said, well, if he's Jewish, how come all the Christians aren't following the Jewish faith? I said, because they're not taught that. They're not taught that Jesus is Jewish and was raised Jewish, kept all the cycles of righteousness. They're not taught that. They're taught by people who call themselves Christians, but they don't know the whole truth about who Jesus is and who he was, and he was born Jewish. The guys loved me for that. I was loved for that.
I need to know what a snakehead is because apparently the way you described it is not my definition of a snakehead.
A snakehead is a fish. It's a huge fish. It's a very dangerous fish.
Never heard of that. A snakehead's a snakehead to me. So
no, this is a fish. This is a huge fish, and it's a very dangerous fish.
Okay, that's a little bit different than I think. I'm picturing you catching snakes and cutting their heads off and throwing them in your fish tank.
No,
I don't know where else to go with that. It's like, how did they eat the goldfish?
No, but I said I had a snakehead in my fish tank, and if I put little teeny fish in there, they wouldn't get along. The snakehead would eat them. This anti-defamation guy said we'll all get along great in a big fish tank. We wouldn't fight with each other. They'd eat us up.
The ADL is a leftist propaganda unit and is designed to undermine the true Jewish faith.
Yeah.
Well,
I heard just yesterday that a lot of the hostages have been traded to other groups outside of Hamas, and Hamas may not have control over all the hostages. So they're talking about releasing the hostages, but Hamas may not have all the hostages and don't have control over that issue. I never knew that before. I just figured they had them all wherever they got them. And, I know they're spread out, but I've also heard that they move them from one place to another, but other groups besides Hamas have some of the hostages. So
I don't know who you heard it from.
I heard it on Fox yesterday.
Yeah. Well, listen, they'll use any tactic that they can think of.
Yeah. Well, when it comes down to releasing the hostages, they may not be able to do it in the time limit that Trump and Netanyahu is trying to, get things taken care of. That's all. I think that's just something I didn't know. So,
the sooner they finish paving Gaza, the sooner that we can get back to,
I'm with you. I'm on that. All right. Well, I didn't mean to go so long on Greta, but it sparked some other rabbi trails there. So That's good. Like I said, though, I thought my thought was let them go ahead and come into port to unload all of their supplies that they have.
No, but they had another plan to what they were going to do once they got in there.
What was their plan?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, I see.
God forbid that I should get inside to their heads and know what they're thinking.
I know. I think it would have been that much more look stupid. The news would have.
But it doesn't. The point is, what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter how stupid they look. It doesn't matter to the world.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you got Dave Smith, who looks stupid every time he gets on a podcast, and yet somehow he's still making a lot more money than we are talking about something he has no idea about.
I'm with you. With you. Did we all choose the wrong profession here? I mean,
I think so.
Just rolling in.
No, we're on the wrong side of it. You see, Satan's not going to pay us.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going with that. All right. Well, we got just like 6 minutes here. Lots of things going on. So is Mom Donnie of New York fame going to affect you guys in Boston at all? Or, I mean, you guys are awful close to New York. I didn't know if any of that kind of stuff affected you. Democratic socialism and all.
Well, in the People's Republic of Massachusetts, we're just an arm of the CCP here in Massachusetts. We got the one state party, and that's it. So, I mean, will Mamdani affect us indirectly? I think he will. I think he'll affect all of America indirectly, because now it's going to give Hasatan even more boldness to bring in more horrible types of people. I mean, I just heard in the governor's race in Virginia, the Democratic governor, the candidate, has ties. You went to and worked for a Saudi Arabian school that had direct ties with Hamas and jihad. But is that going to be a turning point? Is that going to be a game changer? The attorney general in Virginia, who's running on the Democratic ticket, he had texts from as little as 2 years ago talking about putting 2 bullets in the head of the Republican leader of the state senate, and killing his wife and children. Is that going to be a game changer? It's so crazy today.
It is.
You see, ICE doing their job, and mobsters, coming them and trying to, and then the police don't show up in Portland because they were told not to. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's so. That kind of stuff, is that going to spread? I don't know. It's they're being, I can't believe, and I heard it even, which was weird, that Portland, Oregon, I think it was Portland, the residents actually like what's going on. I mean,
yeah, I know. I guess you have to be there, because us hearing all the different things that we hear, it's like, how can you possibly think that? How can you possibly believe that? And I'm with you. I don't know. It's what was it? Never mind. So they have you thought much about this democratic socialism that he's calling himself? Democratic socialism, isn't that an oxymoron? I looked it up. It says a democratic socialist believes that a society should be run democratically to meet public needs rather than private profits. In simple terms, it is an ideology that combines a commitment to a democratically elected government with a socialist economic system where the means of production are under social ownership. Democratic socialists seek to achieve these goals through the existing democratic process rather than through a revolution. It just sounds wrong to me. I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't know if anybody else could explain that to me so that I understand that any better. I think that's one of the things they want to do is just confuse us. They've done quite well with me. We have 1 minute. Anybody want to respond in 1 minute?
What they're trying to do is their words, blah, 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 blah,
Blah. Exactly.
to entice people,
Yeah.
and they're just words.
Yeah.
They're words with no life. They're words that are just they're tantalizing the human reasoning people. Not people that do their due diligence and vigilance and search out and just think it through. This guy, what's his background? What's his history?
Yeah.
Is he for the United States of America or is he not? Well, I mean, look at his history. I'm telling you, the handwriting is on the wall.
Right.
And he's just writing these words to try to influence people who don't do their due diligence and aren't vigilant and search it out themselves. And that's what happens a lot with the blah, 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 and their lies. I believe that they're just, I'm very concerned about how the outcome is going to be. Very concerned. I really.
Does it make socialism okay if you throw the word democratic in front of it? Because most people just see the democratic and stop right there, and they don't realize what they're actually looking into. Sorry, but we got to go. It's done time, and I don't watch the time well enough. Like everybody else is so good at watching their time, and I don't. So thank you, Daryl, very much for coming in. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys had a good time. Thanks, James and Abigail. It's O'Hare time. So, hey, we'll see you next week. We're going to do this again next week. And the O'Hares are doing a special show tomorrow right after War Room. So everybody come and join them for that. And otherwise, we'll see y'all later. Say goodbye, everybody. I don't even have my
Shalom, shalom.
outro stuff ready to go here. What's going on?
If you missed today's show or want to watch it again or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lambnetwork.tv where you will find this show and all other live Lamb Show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell somebody about the Messianic Lamb Network.
They should be white as snow, white as snow, white wool.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.
White as snow, white as snow.